Hey, Shalom Alkim Zurkam Kapashim Jimis London, giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, by Shem Chachwadash. When I give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom met there to the hopeful elect, preaching his truth and all sincerity. Back again with another video. Here, got from the Express, got another article here, right? And you know, the writings on the wall for this place, man. You know, all these prophecies that we've been out there on the highways and hedges speaking, and out there on YouTube, right? It's all coming to pass, man. Like, and there's certain individuals can see it, but like always, they never see the whole picture, man. They're very short-sighted, right? Because they don't understand prophecies, right? So they just report it as as it is, as they see it, right? But everything that people are observing, okay, they're observing the end of this kingdom, the end of Esau's dominion, his rulership over the earth, right? Once this all goes down, man, there is no coming back. There is no. I mean, Esau believes it's gonna be he gonna replace the system, but that's not what's gonna happen, man. The system will get replaced. Okay, but it won't be his system. Okay, our Lord is gonna take control over the earth, right, and over the people, right. And it's gonna be his dominion, right. But we got an article here from the Express. This inflation warning: harsh reality is about to hammer Britain in worst recession since the 70s, right? And these guys, they're trying to cover it up, trying to downplay the situation. But there's certain so-called experts that can see that they're lying. All right, and that this guy that they was interviewing was speaking about it. All right, and this article, I'm gonna read some of it. Right, it says the UK is hurtling towards economic disaster. Right, and it ain't just the UK. Okay, it's all these other countries as well. But this is a UK-based paper, right? But this is happening all over the globe right now, man. All the economies of the world is unstable right now. This is the UK is hurtling towards an economic disaster, but the government continues to sugarcoat the severity of the issues. They're downplaying it, right? They're trying to make you not be too concerned about it. Not yet, anyway. All right. It says according to an expert economist. So Patrick Reed, an economist and Cambridge University lecturer, right? So because he at Cambridge, I suppose he's supposed to be reputable, right? Has warned that the UK is currently on a trajectory for the worst recession since the 1970s, but the reality is being underplayed by the government, right? Now, UK and the rest of these nations, they're on a whole nother trajectory that's worse than anything they've ever seen. All right, I tell you that for free. All right, you don't really understand the trajectory that you're on, right? How far it goes, how far down the trajectory goes, right? You have no idea, right? But we do, right? We know how bad things are gonna get, right? This is from Daniel chapter 12, right? And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people, and there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. Right, so forget 1970. Forget the 1970s, man. I know you had your these other nations had their recessions and deep depressions and all this kind of stuff, right? And they always reference those things as bad times, right? But what's about to happen is nothing of like any of those. Okay, far worse, far greater than anything that has been experienced on earth to this day. To this day. All right? Far worse. Right? The Most High got a whole bunch of judgment that he's gonna release upon this planet, man, upon these kingdoms, upon these people. All right, so he's underplaying it. He's even underplaying it. He's even, downplaying what is actually going to happen, man, because he already understands. He already sees numbers. He don't. he ain't spiritual. You know what I mean? He ain't dealing with the scriptures. He only deals with numbers, right? And the numbers, based on what he's seeing, is saying, well, it could be compared to this. It could be a little bit worse than that. But he's using these moments in time as reference. No, you're not going to have nothing to reference this to other than the scriptures. You're not going to have a time where you compare it with something else and saying, oh yeah, well, it's as bad as that. Nah, the time we're going into, man, there's never been the like of. Okay, it's in this whole different league, a category of its own. Right? You don't understand the severity of the issues, man. All right. But that's what we know. That's what we see. All right, for the spirit. Right? Through these prophecies, that is what's happening. Or what is going to happen. All right. After assessing the wider economic data, Mr. Reid said he is very concerned about the coming difficult days ahead for the UK economy and predicted inflation to hit 10% within 3 months, right? And potentially to rise to 15% within a year. Now that's hard. That's hard for people to really deal with that, right? But it's not the highest it's ever been. I'm sure it's been 20% at times and whatever. I don't know what it was in the 1970s. What he was referencing, but it's been higher, right? But yeah, it's gonna be hard to deal with for the majority of people. Well, yeah, for the majority of people, it's gonna be hard to deal with, right? The rich, are less affected as usual, but it's gonna affect certain men that have got certain amount of money. But the poorer you are, obviously, the worse it is, right? But he's worried about 15%. There's a whole collapse coming, my friend. That's gonna be the 15%. That's gonna be the least of the problem. So he said the government must tell us the truth, right? Because these men are paid liars, professional paid liars, man. They're politicians, okay, who are only interested really in serving themselves, right, and maintaining power, maintaining governance, right, control. Government means control of the mind, right, and that's all they're here to control us, right? Don't be fooled, right? These guys are never good guys. You might have the few sincere ones that go into the game thinking they're going to change things and make things better, but they have to succumb to the game. It's just like anything else. You're going to change the world, man, but you have to abide by the rules, the unspoken rules of how it all works. It's the same as anything. You go into anything big like that. Oh, I'm going to go into music. I'm going to change the world with my music. Yeah, but you have to succumb and bend over and do the agendas of your masters, man. Your record labels, the small hats and them guys. Yeah, you're bowing down to that. You're gonna go into a police system. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do a better job. I'm gonna do things right. But you find that these things are corrupt. And if you wanna keep a job, man, you better keep your nose clean. It's anything, man. This whole system is corrupt, man. So all these people are corrupt. All right, so they're not here to tell us the truth. And that's not what they're here for. These are the devil. These are the devils, man. They're not here for the truth. All right. I'll get to that. So yeah, I'll read some more of this. Right. Mr. Reid, Mr. Reid, who was speaking at a financial broker XTB's masterclass event, told Express.co.uk, all markers indicate the UK will go into recession, most likely Q1 or Q2 next year, without a significant deviation from the current trajectory. The 2023 recession will be the worst in the UK's face since the 1970s. All right. He added, if you thought the price of oil was high when it reached $130 recently, we are likely to see it reaching $200 to $260, like double, in the next 6 months, right? So what? Our current prices here in the UK is what? Well, locally, because I already know locally, so it's on the lower side, is like £1.65 per litre. So my man's saying that could be like 370. Fuck. man, that's gonna hurt. That's gonna hurt me. £3.70 a litre. Wow. Right. How long? He said in the next 6 months. right? So before you even get to Q1 and Q2, because we're not even halfway through the year yet, that man's prices is going to be mad for the majority of people, you know. And like I said, the poorer you are, the more it's going to hurt. But but yeah, right. And this is the thing, things as they are right now is still relatively cheap as things stand, relatively, right? Because the way the way it's gonna go, right, and how bad it's going to be, this is gonna be you wish you're gonna be paying £3.20 or free. What was it? What did I say it was 3.30 or something? Yeah, double 165. Yeah, so what's that? 3.30, right? Yeah, you'll be wishing you're paying 3.30 at the pump. You'll be wishing you're paying £3. £3.30 is gonna sound like a effing bargain compared to what it's gonna be at. The fact that and the scary thing is, right, it won't even be a case of whether you can afford it or not, because at this point or that point, it's gonna get confiscated, man. It's gonna get rationed to high hell. Even Emmanuel Macron of France was saying such things concerning the diesel because of the lack of supply. Well, you know how things are gonna be. All right, things are gonna get real bad. But let me bring this up. Um, it's second Ezra chapter 16, verse 21. You know what? Let me jump. Always jumping up in it. The point is in the 21st verse, but I'm going to start from 17, right? It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Let me jump up more. 14. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they should come upon the earth. Right? The fire is kindled and should not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. Right? This is the end, man. This ain't gonna quench itself. Okay, there's no recovery to happen. All right. This is what was it's like verse 16, light as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death. Right? We know that famine is coming, man. Okay, these men are talking about food shortages now. Before, that was never an issue. Remember, they was trying to reassure us at the beginning of the pandemic about there's no food shortages, and there won't be no food shortages. Right? Guess what? It's coming. Right? It's all coming, man, and it's all, like I said, it's all been a knock-on effect from the pandemic and even certain variable things that was happening prior to the pandemic. Right? It's all accumulating, or has accumulated, right, to this point that we're going to get to, right? This is the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, right? We've got that going on, right? And the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils, right? Great evil is about to come upon this earth, man. Even more so than there is already, right? What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges, right? You don't understand why this is happening. Why this is happening to people. Why things are getting so bad. You don't have an understanding of those things. Right? You don't want to accept this because you're wicked. And the people that are ruling are wicked. And the Lord Yahweh is the one that's judging them all, or judging us all, right? No one wants to understand that. Verse 21, behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And like I said, 165, £3.30. You can be wishing that you're paying these prices, man. Yeah, it's wow, yeah. Well, I remember back in my 20s, was that 15 years ago, right? Now fuel was like around 99p, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, right? So the jump that we've even had since 15 years is not even been that great compared to the double jump that my man's talking about in the next 6 months. It's this thing is it's going to exponentially just go explode and go crazy and drain everybody's wallets, man. You're gonna be shopping. You're gonna stop driving your cars, man. That's how bad it's gonna get. You're gonna stop driving your cars. You're gonna start walking everywhere. Get bicycle. Get whatever. That's what you guys are gonna be doing. You know. Um. Yeah, they should think themselves to be in good case, and even then shall evils grow upon earth. Things are only gonna get worse, right? Earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. Right? And for many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right? So, yeah, man, things are only going to get worse, right? It says, this is not just something impacting financial markets, and as this price rises further, so will the cost of the majority of your goods and services. Here comes the kicker. It's not even about what you're paying at your pocket. Yeah, it's bad what you're paying at your own pocket, but what everyone else, all these companies, and because obviously shit has to be delivered, right? Things, cars, and they have to get used to deliver things to places, airplane, ship, whatever, right? Moving goods around the place all the time, right? And that's going to become unviable for certain companies and less viable for others, right? A lot of things are going to go under, man. Okay, there's going to be a lot of disruption, even more so than it is already, right? It is a cataclysmic event waiting to happen, or that's happening, you know. This is as this price rises further, so will the cost of the majority of your goods and services, as so much depends on moving items or people from place to place. Yep, certain businesses are not going to be able to absorb that cost. It comes just after the Office of National Statistics released data that showed UK wages have declined in real terms by 1%. All right, and that's the thing. You always becoming poorer in this system. Always becoming poorer in the system, man. The rich are able to keep their heads above all the time, man, because they got the money to make them big boy investments, and they had the curve. They invest in the things that obviously gonna make them money, right? Because they take opportunities of all this shit that happens, all the evil that happens, man, and taking the opportunity of it. These government assholes, getting all the pharmaceutical contracts, getting stocks and shares and that kind of stuff, because they're the ones, in control of all of that. So, it's just things like that. The rich, that's why the rich stay rich and the poor get poorer. Right? That gap is, ever gets bigger, right? So speaking about the figures, Mr. Rees said the Chancellor's response was far more positive in its analysis, highlighting a year of falling unemployment and a stronger jobs market bounce back than so many predicted. This is disingenuous, right? And another example of government not being clear enough with the public about how difficult the next 2 years will be economically. Right? Disingenuous, man, meaning they're lying. They're lying, they're hiding shit from you. Right? So better financial education leads to better outcomes for individuals and society. Rishi must now be completely honest and clear about the real state of our economy and what it means for both business and family, right? But these men are not going to be honest. That's not the idea. This is Psalms 55 verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter. Man, he's going to tell you what he needs to tell you, right? What the outcome that he wants to have out of what he's saying. That's what they're going to tell you. So if he wants you to feel calm and, less concerned about the situation, he's going to tell you a bunch of lies. He's going to smooth over the cracks, and he's going to comfort you a little bit. That's what he's going to do, right? If they want you in panic, they'll tell you, they will say something that will make you, be in panic. Whatever it is they need to say to you to get their desired outcome is what they're going to tell you, right? And it's all lies. It's always lies. Oh yeah, but the job market is it's getting better. You give a damn, man. You're about to lose a shit ton of jobs soon. What does it matter? Oh yeah, this month or this year or this quarter, yeah, Employment was up. So what? You think that's going to offset what's about to happen? You're crazy. Nothing is going to offset what's about to happen, man. You're screwed. All right, but obviously they don't want to tell you that. They ain't going to say that to you. Right? So the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war is in his heart, man. Everything is about the destruction of the society, man. That's what they're doing right now. Every decision that they're making is for the destruction of the society, so they can bring in the NWO, their new system. Okay, which they're incorporating, implementing as we speak, integrating as we speak. But the whole system needs to get done away with first. But you wean it off. You have to wean off certain systems, man. You have to wean yourself off. You don't just jump into a whole new system and no one's ready. No, you're weaning a system off, right? And I say we're gonna be given a whole new system. It's gonna revolve around the MOTB. Okay. So the war is in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Right? So none of this is happening for our good. Alright? This is Sirach chapter 12, verse 10. It says, never trust thine enemy, for light as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right? Beginning with these Edomites, man, they ain't doing nothing but plotting against us. Against the people on the planet. They're killers. They're just disingenuous. Right? They don't really care about humanity and all this business that they talk about on the TV. Oh, we're doing this for humanity. We need to tackle global climate change and all this bullshit. Like, they don't care about people. What makes you think that? This guy's blowing up people in in the Middle East, in Ukraine right now. This guy don't care about people. Anyway, I'm gonna jump down a little bit, right? Verse 16: an enemy speaketh sweetly with his lips, but in his heart he imagineth how to throw thee into a pit. He will weep with his eyes, but if he find opportunity, he will not be satisfied with blood. If adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first, and though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. Rishi, who's the finance chancellor of the exchequer, or the position's called, right? He cutting fuel duties, or he increasing the national insurance, so you don't have to pay as much tax and all this business. Well, that he ain't doing shit. None of that is. Well, the guy mentions it, right? They ain't doing shit. Ain't doing a damn thing. They're what do they call that? Like wasteful gestures, man. Empty gestures. That's the word. They're empty. It's empty, man. Everything they do for the people is empty. It don't do nothing. It doesn't result in anything, man. It just doesn't result in your favor. And you still don't understand this. This is verse 18. He would shake his head and clap his hands and whisper much and change his countenance, man. Because, hey, I guarantee you, man, behind closed doors, man, these men are taking they're joking, they're laughing, they're taking a piss out of you people, man. In the public eye, yeah, they gotta be professional and act sincere and all this. They're just actors and liars, man. That's what they are, right? But behind closed doors, we've seen what that's been happening behind some of these closed doors with Boris and what's that dude's name? What's this guy's name, bro? He's disappeared, but his name's not been mentioned so much. Doing shit in a public office they're not meant to be doing. Boris getting caught partying, attending parties and shit. Fuck these dudes, man. Right? But they're taking the piss. Right? How they are off screen is completely fucking different. Okay, they're no allies of mankind. All right, let's put it that way. Begin abajo. So, okay. So during his spring statement, Chancellor Rishi Sunak said the UK should expect to see inflation to average around 7.4% this year, right? So it's a range, right? and that's the average. It says, however, Mr. Reid argued, forget 7% inflation projections. Inflation is heading to 10% in the next 3 months, and could go well beyond this, potentially reaching as high as 15% in the next 12 to 18 months. The impact could take years to overcome. UK inflation is already rising at the fastest rate for 30 years. This is before the impacts of the UK war are felt, which is likely to push inflation even higher in the coming months. All right, and then come interest spikes, raises and everything. I said it's all written in the wall, man. This whole place is doomed to fail, man. Everything that's being done now is, not in there for you, but it's reckless as hell. If you was really trying to manage an economy, these decisions that these people were making, you wouldn't be making. Right, but it's a demolition, man. It's a controlled demolition of society. This is what this is. This is what they're doing. Right. Mr. Reid, who also teaches financial literacy to members of the public, said the war may have increased volatility and petrol, but it hasn't affected CPI, consumer price index. It hasn't affected the price of stuff, because that will be next month, and that's something the public need to know, right? So these PMs here, these ministers or whatever, right? They're here trying to calm the people, but not warning the people that next month, right? You're gonna be hurting. It's not all good. Like, you're gonna be hurting next month. But then that's what Biden be saying that, man. But even that's irresponsible. You wouldn't expect that to come out of the president's mouth, but you're through. That's the bottom line. They're trying to hide that you're through here, but you're through, and there's no getting away from the fact that you're through. All right. So he said the Chancellor's announcement of fuel duty cuts and raising the national insurance threshold is unlikely to really help households in any significant way. So speaking at Express, he said people don't have money when we're raising interest rates, and a lot of that is because of high energy prices. But the real problem I have is that Rishi Sunak sugarcoated, essentially highlighting a year of falling unemployment and a stronger jobs market, but that's not the truth, really. You think the truth? Speaking about the disingenuous announcement, he said, we're at fault as well. We don't like bad news, and the government likes votes. All right, so yeah, man, bad times ahead. All right, bad times ahead. This is Revelation chapter 6, verse 5, right? And it says here, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard the voice in the midst of the four beasts say, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Right? And what this basically is, man, what it basically means is that shit's gonna get super, super expensive. Beyond your capacity to purchase certain things, right? Things are gonna get super expensive, and is that not what's happening? Are things not gonna get any more expensive and about to get even more expensive, right? Did not the guy just said, look, it might jump to well, basically £3.30 per litre, that's on a conservative cycle. I said that's locally, man, that's in my area. Right, that's not nationally. That's not the average nationally. And the average nationally is always usually around about 7-8p more. Right, but regardless, like, things jumping up crazy. And things are going to continue to jump up crazy. Everything is going to have a knock-on effect. It's going to affect the prices of things, man. And like I said, the fact that people's money is not increasing means they're not going to be able to. They ain't going to be able to do nothing with that, man. When your bread, if you can get it, is worth, you pay £1.10 now, £1.20 maybe currently, right? But what if that goes to £10? What if that goes to £20? What then? Like, oh, you might have £20. There might be bread in the shop. But guess what? You ain't getting much more than the bread. Okay, you'll be brought down to a low level, man. These luxuries and that people are used to, choice and all this business, right? You're not gonna have those. Like your energy and is skyrocketing, bro. Like you ain't gonna be turning the heating on, man. You'll be firing every jumper that you own to put on to keep warm, right? And we're not even in winter at the moment. Prices are gonna go up before winter, all right? And it's gonna be what needed in winter. So then prices are gonna be mega high, right? But you ain't gonna want to turn the heating on because it's gonna be that expensive. You be getting all your long johns out, all your gloves, your hats, all of that, just to keep warm, man. Because there's gonna be a trade-off, right? What can you really afford in that time? Because it won't be a lot. What can you really afford? This is what this black horse represents. Okay, essentially inflation. All right. And I say it's gonna cause a lot of people to die. Die of lack of food, die of cold. A bunch of old people die in winter time, right? Because when they get too cold, get ill. So death is associated with that. Okay, because then comes the perils of death. Um, so yeah. It's a second interest, man, because like I said, all this happening, all these things getting worse, man. People are gonna start losing their minds, right? And people are gonna lose their shit. Right. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh." Right. This is what we keep telling you, man. This is the end. Everything is that's happening is to do with the end. Right. Every kingdom's had its end. And this is Esau's his present kingdom's end, right? For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, the authorities, right? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay, great tribulation is about to come. Right, and this great tribulation is going to send people into survival mode, man. Into that feral survival mode where all that morality shit that these people talk so much about, these ethics and morals that all these people supposedly have, are going to go out the fucking window. It's going to go well out the window, right? They're going to dash their humanity aside, right? And turn into the beast, right? And they're going to be taking lives, man. They're going to be fighting, taking people's lives, stealing people's food. Lawlessness is about to ensue, right? It ought to be the law, the law of the individual, wherever lines they don't want to cross. But in that time, man, they be crossing all kinds of lines. We've mentioned plenty of times before about cannibalism, right? People are going to get desperate, man, and desperation changes people. All right? For those of, low integrity. And Lord willing, this is why, we're not going to fall victim to that. Because we're going to put our trust in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And the Lord is going to keep us and protect us and and help us, you know. So we ain't gonna have to go to the depths of you devils out here, man. Okay, but it will be something that we have to keep an eye on, because these are enemy combatants, right? So, you know, we're gonna rely on the Lord to guide us, man. All right, through all this, right? But these people, they're gonna be losing their minds, man. Okay, whether you can afford it, whether you can't afford it, obviously the poor, they're gonna lose their minds first, right? And it's always like, these richer people, let's speak about these Edomites, right? These well-to-do Edomites, man. They always sit back from their houses and think, oh, it's all right, we can still manage, and yeah, it's a shame for them poor people out there, but we're all right, right? Yeah. And then when it comes to be your turn, and now you want sympathy, and well, yeah, Black Lives Matter on this shit. That's what these Edomites do. Unless it's affecting them, they ain't saying shit, they ain't doing shit, they don't care. All right, but we're all gonna find ourselves in this situation, man. Only the super elite are gonna be away from this, right? Purged settings, they're gonna be away somewhere, right? You rest of you people, you're gonna be dealing with yourselves, man. So it's gonna affect all of us, man. Right? Why these elites scurry away and hide, in their safety, right? Stocked up with seeds and shit. They're bunkers, but these people are gonna lose their shit, right? And this is the part that they don't get to. This is the part they don't get to. Talk about disingenuous, but this is the part they won't ever get to. They don't want to speak about this. They don't want to speak about the end of this, where this all goes. He's just talking about the numbers. But where does this lead? Where does this ultimately go? Right? You're not going to hear that from these guys. All right? We're the ones telling you it. For the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Okay, through these prophecies, through the Lord's word. All right, this is where it all leads. All right? So, with that, I'm going to say shalom. I hope this is edifying. And I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until then, I say shalom.